What's up, everybody out there on the other side of the computer? It's Aftermath with Nug, Jimmy, Kevin, and Anthony, and we're going to get things started with our big wins this week in WWE. And Jimmy, your big win comes from SmackDown.
Yes, it does. And it's the ladies, Sasha and Bayley, coming out of Hell in a Cell. They had a terrific match inside Hell in a Cell. So when this rematch was announced for SmackDown, I had question marks in my head thinking, oh my goodness, how are they going to live up to the standards that they set inside Hell in a Cell? Not only did they live up to delivering a quality match, they surpassed my expectations. They had a really, really, really good match. And that's one of the challenges, especially coming out of something like a Hell in a Cell. Now you're on free television in a regular match, but you're still having a great match. Now it all depends on where it goes here. What happens with Carmella afterwards, we shall see. But the ladies are really picking up because we have no Bayley right now. Not Bayley. We have no Becky Lynch right now. We have no Charlotte. But the women's division is definitely right here right now.
Yeah, and not everybody has the network. So if you miss that incredible match, if you have cable TV, you get to see this awesome follow up and kind of can show you what they kind of did, not in terms of move for move, but the caliber of the match that they had.
Sportsnet 360 will be replaying SmackDown if you want to catch that match. I just had to throw that in there. Right. So please go ahead and check that because, yeah, that match was awesome, Jimmy. I agree. And let's not forget that Ronda Rousey's still not on the roster either. So there's a lot of room for someone to step up in the women's division. Why not Carmella? And I'm with you, Jimmy. Let's kind of wait and see where it goes. I'm willing to put in the time to get invested in Carmella. I'd like to see her be elevated to a top-tier status.
She's been top tier before. She has been the champion before on SmackDown. Also, I just like that she showed up and it sort of lets Sasha move away from Bayley immediately. Even if Carmella isn't in top contendership because she's been away a while, you can see that Sasha's probably going to want to fight her to get revenge for what she did at the end of that match on Friday. Moving on, Anthony, you've got a big win from Raw.
Yeah, it also has to do with the ladies. And again, there's pay-per-view matches, and then there's Monday Night Raw and SmackDown and NXT. And this felt like a big pay-per-view match that was given to us on Monday Night Raw. Nia Jax versus Asuka, arguably two of the most dominant women in the professional wrestling business all over the world. And it was incredible. I didn't like the ending, of course, but, the ending did kind of allow for something else to happen, a follow-up match to really see. But to see them lock up and Asuka for once not just being, the total butt kicker that she normally is and having to deal with a mountain of a woman in Nia Jax, man, there's just some really good dynamics there. I look forward to seeing them lock horns again. Well, they wouldn't have horns because they're females, but you know what I mean?
No, it was, again, a very good match. My only issue is it feels to me like Asuka, who's your Raw Women's Champion, is almost like taking a back seat to the other women like Nia Jax and
Shayna Baszler.
Shayna Baszler, sorry. Wow. Whew, had a brain cramp right there. Again, too many ref bombs. But anyways, no, that's the only issue I have with Asuka. She's very entertaining. Yes, the promo side is a little bit different because of the language barrier, but at the same time, she's very entertaining. And I'd like to, just for me, I'd like to see more of a focus put on her as the top woman on the brand.
Jimmy, I'm with you. I'm with you for sure. I'd like to see Asuka more often. And I think the problem over the last couple of weeks is we barely saw Asuka. So in regards to both you and Anthony, I think it's good that we actually saw Asuka in the ring doing something. I'm happy to see her, especially when we have two top-tier women like Asuka and Nia Jax going at it. So it's cool to see them both in there. And Jimmy, we'll have to get you some more coffee, like a Ref to Chef kind of personal coffee thing to wake you up a little more in the morning, right?
I like this Mick Foley-esque plugging that you're doing today. First, anyway.
Here on Aftermath.
Very nice. Yeah, my only issue with that match, I mean, it was a great match, but like Anthony said, the ending was not what anybody wanted. And also right now, Asuka feels like the most secondary thing going on in the women's division, mostly because the will they or won't they get along for Survivor Series against a team of women, will they or will they not get along? Or is that the men that won't get along? They all won't get along. So it just seems that Asuka's lost in the shuffle right now. And when it's the best of the best for brand versus brand, and it really hasn't mattered for a long time which brand is better, and people are just new on the show, I don't know what kind of loyalty it inspires in you to fight for a team for a show that you just got to, like, it's just a very odd circumstance. But Asuka certainly seems like an afterthought with all of this other stuff going on in the women's division.
Agreed.
Yeah, it happens in sports sometimes when somebody gets drafted to a competitor and all of a sudden they're supposed to fight with that same or play with that same vigor that they, because they despise the other team. And ultimately, I think people really kind of feel that we're all on the same team. It's WWE, right?
And I still love them pushing that this is the only time all year they fight each other. Except for one time. For the last 3 weeks when they fought each other during the draft, and then all the weeks where they swapped shows just cause, and then WrestleMania went anyway. Kevin, moving on, your win also comes from Raw.
That's right, and I actually wore the glasses for this specific reason, so I could say my win is actually shocking because Retribution is my win this week. Wow. That's right, folks, Retribution. And the only reason I'm actually picking Retribution this week is because Mustafa Ali he's such a good wrestler. He's so good in the ring. And we got a kick-ass match between Mustafa Ali and Ricochet. And I haven't seen a lot of Ricochet in terms of being able to exhibit what he does best in the ring, and that's just be a sweet professional wrestler. So we got an awesome wrestling match between Ricochet and Mustafa Ali. I thought they were given some time to put on a good match, a lot of high spots. It was something a little different. I feel like we haven't got that kind of high-flying match on Raw lately. Maybe I just haven't been as in tune to those kind of matches, but I just really thought that Ricochet and Mustafa Ali made me care about Retribution for a second. Mustafa Ali, obviously the best wrestler out of anybody in that stable, so it was cool to see him show up. And I've also been enjoying Mustafa Ali's mic chops. I thought that he's been pretty good in trying to present himself, present Retribution and their cause. So it's been cool to see Mustafa Ali get on the mic and kind of do his thing, but then also we know he's really good in the ring, and we saw that again on Monday night. That's my win. Glasses go back on now.
Yeah, he's been given a tough task, to be the mouthpiece for Retribution. That's not easy. It's not easy at all. And I think he's doing a really good job considering.
Yeah, under the circumstances. And the one thing you brought up is the different style of match they had. It was a little more high flying, a little more, for lack of a better term, spot oriented. But they didn't just do moves for the sake of doing moves. They did them and they meant something, and everybody registered it and told a story. It was a good part of the story, as opposed to just, hey, we can do all this crazy stuff, so let's just do this crazy stuff. It wasn't like that fireworks display where you just go ooh ah and then don't remember anything. You remember this match.
Yeah, my wife always refers to the 205 Live as the Little People Show. And she was like, hey, it's like these guys on the Little People Show. She was totally drawn to the match. She'd never really seen Mustafa Ali wrestle before. And she's like, he is so good. And I was like, yeah, he is. My thing that I really liked was after Retribution in various forms have been losing matches the last few weeks, if you're the leader, you lead by example. And Mustafa Ali went out and won a match. Yeah, there was a little shenanigans on the outside. Ricochet really made the mistake of being self-distracted and trying to take out the whole gang of misfits on the outside. Then when he came back in, Mustafa was waiting for him and caught him. And I loved that choke out submission finish that Mustafa used. I thought it was very unique.
Nice.
Yeah, Kevin hit the nail on the head. He said we haven't seen a lot of these types of matches lately. And of course, less is more. And when you see some storytelling, and mostly storytelling, and all of a sudden the high-flying match is not so bad. But when you have high-flying matches too much, it's bad. But this was the right amount.
All right. And my win is the full moon shining on NXT with a young man named Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes is this, I think he's an anomaly. He's very funny outside the ring and all of his interviews, and then inside the ring, he's getting the job done. He just had a House of Horrors match against Dexter Lumis and had zombies attack him during the House of Horrors match, and now he's got PTSD and seeing zombies everywhere, including referee Daryl Sharma. Shout out to referee Daryl Sharma, who acts like he doesn't understand why Grimes would be messed up by this. Grimes is doing amazing work in NXT. Win or lose, he's one of the highlights every week, and I think he's going straight to the moon, guys. I'm pretty big on Cameron Grimes.
Oh, he's amazing. I've been watching him for years, and I was really happy that he went to NXT. And as soon as he got there, he was already kind of treated like a veteran, just because of his history. But he is an in-ring leader, and he's really mature and has that savviness to him that someone his age kind of shouldn't have. But he really gets it, and he's really good.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Cameron Grimes is doing what you're supposed to be doing. He's a sponge, and look at all the people you have down there to learn from, all the veterans, and I get it. You want to change the business and elevate it, but at the same time, listen to those guys that were there. And I think he's doing that. He's being a sponge, and that's a big thing. And as far as getting invested in him, that's the main thing. That's what he's doing, is he's getting you invested in him.
I think he even helps coach a little bit. He's really
good. I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, just quickly in addition to that, I mean, it's cool to see more talent in NXT being elevated. You have the top tier base guys that we've seen forever, Ciampa, Gargano, Undisputed Era, those guys. So it's cool to see even more guys like Cameron Grimes being elevated into that kind of upper echelon of talent in NXT. There's such a big pool of great wrestlers down there. So it's cool to see a guy like Cameron Grimes being elevated with a bunch of other guys too.
And a quick shout out to Hornet.
Oh yeah, shout out to Hornet. He's the greatest. It really reminds me of the late 80s WWE where there were characters and there were clear top guys, and then there was this second level of guys that were huge and important, and you saw them every week, but they just weren't there yet. That's where, for me, in NXT, there's Grimes, there's Bronson Reed, there's Dexter Lumis, there's this gang of people in that North American division, and if any of them want to go up against Johnny Gargano, I'm all for it, for that title.
I think
Grimes.
Yeah, no, I know, not to interrupt you there, Anthony, but I think Nug hit the nail on the head here. Is yes, you have that upper level of talent, that upper mid card, for lack of a better term, in NXT is like stacked, and I think that's where we're lacking maybe on other brands a little bit, is that upper mid level talent.
Yeah. As soon as I mean somebody like that starts, climbing the ranks, all of a sudden you start making all these matches in your mind, and there would be instant classics with so many guys in the upper level of NXT. So the future is very bright for Mr. Grimes.
It was a very bright week in WWE with all our wins. What were your wins? Let us know on Twitter. Use the hashtag AskAftermath if you have any questions, and be sure to tag Jimmy Corderas with any of your comments, recipes, advice, and so forth. Those are our wins. Stay tuned. We've got fails and much more coming up on Aftermath on YouTube.